Hey, busy lady, welcome back to the Grace-Filled Leader podcast. If you listened to the previous episode, number 156, you may recall that I talked about 5 time-saving tips to shave hours off of your work week. Well, today is a little bit of a continuation of that. I want to tell you about the 4 tools that I depend on to be my most efficient, effective, and productive self. These go hand in hand with the tips that I talked about last episode, so be sure you go back and listen to that one if you haven't already. Welcome to the Grace-Filled Leader podcast. Do you want better work-life balance? Do you get stuck in patterns of perfectionism and people-pleasing? Have you always been an overachiever but never really felt good enough, no matter how much outward success you achieve? Do you want more time for the things that matter most? Well, you are in the right place. Here on the Grace-Filled Leader podcast, we focus on spirit-driven success and share the secrets to having better work-life balance as a busy woman in leadership. Here you will learn how to set boundaries like a boss, find peace of mind, and reclaim your time for the things that matter most. Hi, I'm Tanya, a wife, mom, leader, and certified Christian life coach. For most of my life, I tried to find worthiness through achievement. I spent decades people-pleasing and pouring myself into my work. I was looking for my value through the approval of others. This led me to feel burned out, empty, and exhausted. I had no time or energy for myself or my family. I realized that I was wasting time and energy looking for validation in all the wrong places. But my life changed when I finally surrendered and God showed me a different way. It is my mission to help you start living the abundant life God has for you. If you're ready to become fueled by grace and find freedom from people-pleasing, if you're ready to multiply your time and impact as a Christian woman in leadership, this podcast is for you. Roll up your sleeves, sister friends. It's time to get after it. If I'm going to speak to the tools that I use the most and with every aspect of my work, whether that be in my leadership role by day or my coaching and podcast work by night, there are 4 essential tools that I rely on heavily. The first is my electronic calendar. I rely on and I optimize the use of my electronic calendar. So in my leadership role by day, that is my Outlook calendar. And by night, that's my Google Calendar. If I could, I would use one for all things, but at work we are required to use kind of that Microsoft Office package for security reasons and all of that. So anyway, I schedule my appointments, my meetings, my personal and work time blocks as if they are all appointments on my calendar. I use the description box in that appointment or that meeting time block to make notes of what I need to accomplish or remember for any given appointment or time block. If you remember, one of my time-saving tips is to effectively use time blocks for your focused project work. So this is where your electronic calendar or your paper planner, if you prefer, is essential to optimizing your day, using those time blocks to focus on project work. Excuse me. Second, I have a digital filing system. In my corporate job, I use Microsoft OneNote a lot to file emails with documents that I need to be able to reference or find later. It has great search functionality. Now, I also use regular electronic file folders on my PC, and I optimize and minimize the number of folders I have on my PC. For my coaching and my podcast work, I use Google Drive to store nearly everything. Though this is a work in progress, as I started out just using digital files on my computer, which I did organize in a similar fashion as my Google Drive. So there is some redundancy there as I work to do more and transfer more into my Google Drive. But whether you are on your hard drive or a Google Drive, it's important that you are intentional about naming your files. And I learned that from Tracy Holt. She is the host of the Organized Coach podcast. And in my Google Drive, I don't know if you've figured out how to do this. Probably. I'm just probably slow to the table. In my Google Drive, I like to color code things, my folders, so that it's more visually appealing and grabs my attention more too. Tracy teaches you that you really only need about 5 major digital files in which you have subfolders with very intentional naming processes so that you can find things easily. The whole key to organizing anything is doing it in such a way that it's meaningful for you and that you can find it easily. Tool number 3. Another very, very valuable tool which no one talks about is an optimize favorites or bookmarks bar. And the secret to really optimizing it is to not use a bunch of words to name your favorites, but instead use the logo if they have one. Most of us recognize the logo of any given website or company, and then when you hover over that logo, it'll tell you what website it's for anyway. So this was another really handy tip that I learned from Tracy. It allows for a lot more bookmarks to be visual on your main ribbon, and it's more visually appealing. It's so much easier to find those websites that you go to or programs that you go to most often. Honestly, you can't believe how much more efficient you'll be if you just learn how to optimize your favorites bar. It's crazy good. And last but not least, and probably most important to me in really upping my efficiency and productivity game, as I said on the last episode, and many more before that, and many more to come, I use a project management system so that I can get all of my processes out of my head and into a system that is user-friendly, robust, and allows me to easily share and recall information. It's so important to get all of the steps of every process or project out of your brain so that you can easily know what you have to do next, even if you're tired and not at your best. Like I said before, I use MeisterTask as my favorite task and project management system. I love it so much. I am also learning how to use Microsoft Teams in a way that's similar to MeisterTask because that's the best option available to me in terms of platforms that are allowed in my corporate role. But I have to do a lot more playing around with that to get it optimized and working as well as MeisterTask does for me. Honestly, you could use a recipe box if you want, whatever works for you, but something that allows you to retrieve the information you need, respond to the next task at hand, rinse and repeat the process as many times as you have to. You need a system that allows for future delegation to other team members. For example, maybe you are currently a solopreneur, but you eventually want to add a virtual assistant or other team members. Well, you're going to need to be able to have your processes recorded somewhere so that you can easily train and transfer duties to other people so that you, as that entrepreneur, the owner of the company, are able to maximize your capacity and your scalability. MeisterTask is great because it has functionality that allows you to have teams, and you can actually assign different task cards to different team members. I totally geek out on creating workflows. I love to organize them into a task or project management system. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I am currently developing a free workshop to show you behind the scenes of my project management system and how I organized all of my daily, weekly, and monthly tasks. I'm also going to be offering some done-for-you templates that can be easily modified to your unique processes and projects. So more to come on that. Keep your ears peeled for more information. I actually got this idea from my organization coach as I offered a free workshop to her students showing them how I use MeisterTask to optimize my coaching and podcast work. So I really didn't kind of think about it, and it was really valuable to them to just really watch how I have set up my system, how I use it, how I commit to using it, and how it keeps me organized and more efficient. So in terms of my coaching services, while my signature coaching package, the Balanced Boss Framework, is great for true transformation from the inside out, sometimes people just want or need something that is quick and easy to implement, especially as busy professionals. Well, we can take the time to figure out and build something ourselves. It's far more time and cost effective, however, to use what someone else has already created and then have them just tell us what to do with it rather than recreating the wheel. We're all busy people, so it helps just to say, hey, what are you using? Show me how you do it. Let me copy it. I use my strength and conditioning coaching, for example. I am a physical therapist. I know how to exercise, I know what muscles do what, and I know the principles of what it takes to build strength and endurance. However, I'm busy and I do not want to take the time and the energy to create my own daily workout plan. And I know that I am far more likely to do my plan if I can just show up and have my coach tell me what to do. So I pay money for someone else to tell me what to do. Something that I could do on my own, but I know that I'll procrastinate or delay or come up with excuses to not do it if left to my own devices. My odds of success are exponentially increased through my investment in my coach. Thus, the return on the investment is worth the investment. So, I'm hoping to offer something similar in the way of time and task management, a done-for-you system that you can just plug and play. I would really love to know if this is something that intrigues you. If so, please come and pop into the Facebook community, send me an email, or leave me a voice message. Let me know if you would find this helpful and or what specifically would serve you best as busy women in leadership. Links to connect with me in all of those ways are in the show notes. Now, before I go, let's quickly review the 4 tools that are essential parts of my time-saving processes. Number 1 is an electronic calendar and optimized use of that calendar. Number 2 is a streamlined digital filing system. Number 3 is an optimized bookmarks bar. And number 4 is a project management system, preferably an electronic one. I choose MeisterTask. There is a free version of MeisterTask which meets most people's needs, and there is also a paid version which I chose just so that I can have unlimited projects in there. There's actually a link to MeisterTask in the show notes if you want to check it out on your own. So folks, if you are enjoying the show and you think others may benefit, please take a moment to leave a quick written review of the show on Apple Podcast. Reviews are one of the best ways to help other people find the show. And besides that, it really fills me up to hear what you think. Now, one more reminder about my idea around creating a workshop and some done-for-you templates and systems. Remember to email me or leave me a voice message or pop into the Facebook community to just tell me if that's something that intrigues you and what are some ideas you have specifically around systems or projects that would be especially useful to you. So that is all I have for you today, my friends. Until next time, I pray that the Lord fills you with gratitude, peace, and His amazing grace. I pray this episode blessed you, spoke to you, or encouraged you in some way. If so, please share it with a friend and head on over to Apple Podcasts to leave me a review. That's the only way for me to know if you're enjoying the show. Nothing blesses me more than to hear from you. Also, come on over to our free Facebook community. This is a great place for us to support one another on our faith and leadership journeys. You can find the link to the group in the show notes or go to gracefilledleader.com/community. If you have questions or content ideas for the show, please send me a message on SpeakPipe or via email. Go to gracefilledleader.com www.streamlined.com/contact and leave a written or voice recorded message. I would love to know how I can best serve you on the podcast. Now to Him who can do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3, verse 20. Until next time, my friends, God bless.